This is my professional audio bag that I use for location audio mixing. I have a full video that explains everything going on in here, a full teardown of all of it. So go check that one out if you haven't seen it yet. Today is everything that's not in here. This case is a Nanuk 915. It's gray, you know, just stating the obvious, but this is the support case rather, that I bring with on all of my audio jobs, okay? I can't do what I need with this bag without this support case. And as you can see when we get into this case, that it's just full of smaller bags, okay? These are the bags that are supplied by Tentacle. And then all these other bags that you're gonna see, these are all CRD bags, or otherwise known, I've heard people call them cord bags. None of this is sponsored, just by the way, none of it's sponsored. I just really, really love these bags. So the way I've got this case set up is a bunch of these cord bags, some Tentacle bags, and then a few other extra things in here that we'll talk about. So today we're gonna break apart this entire case, and we're going to show you exactly what is in it. Because one of the things that I found as a freelancer is it's really hard to find people that are willing to show you the gear they use. So what are some considerations, and why do I have some of the stuff in the bag? Well, we've talked about Timecode before, and I'm just going to break this bag down. This is a very simple bag. This just has 6 of these Tentacle Sync boxes, okay? 6 of them. That's what this is. This is just a Tentacle bag with 6 of those, okay? We've talked a little bit about Timecode before, and it is your job as an audio person to have Timecode on board with your kit. A lot of people find that a little bit shocking, or it's news to them. But yes, as an audio person, you are responsible for bringing Timecode gear so that all of the cameras can be synchronized together. Why do I have 6? I have 6 because I need to dedicate 1 to my bag, and then I have 5 left to dedicate to cameras. Yes, I've been on a shoot that had 5 cameras. It happens, okay? I could probably use a couple more of these, just because, you know. If you know anything about me, you've watched my channel a little bit, I'm all about backups. I'm all about backups, and I'm all about having stuff on board that you can use in case of emergency, if you will. Okay, then this bag right here is my next bag that I always carry with me, and this is a collection of Timecode equipment, okay? So these are extra bits and bobs that come with the Tentacle Syncs. These are just the mounts that come with the Tentacle Syncs. And then as I wonderfully take this all apart, you can see I have 3 of these. These are Caddies made by Kondor Blue. These are Tentacle Sync Caddies. They're perfectly formed to hold a Tentacle Sync and attach it to a camera, okay? And then in this bag, I have a breakdown of a lot of different cables. I'm gonna slide this case a little bit out of the way. I have a breakdown. So this is a cable to do for Sony. This is a USB Tentacle cable. This is SDI, not SDI, BNC is the proper connection there. So this is Tentacle to BNC. I think I've got 5 or 6 of those in the bag. That's these guys. So these are all BNC. Then I've got one for ARRI. Okay, this goes to an ARRI camera. I've got 2 XLRs. So these go straight into XLR ports. Then I have, this one is, I believe, for Panasonic. This is a Panasonic flash port cable. Another ARRI cable. Then you have another BNC. And then this is a 9-pin Lemo. This commonly goes to a red camera. Sorry, that's not a 9-pin. That is a 9-pin. That's a 9-pin Lemo. And then this is a 5-pin Lemo, commonly for red cameras. Another 9-pin Lemo. Another 5-pin Lemo. This is another USB for Sony mirrorless. Another 9-pin Lemo. And then these are the cables that come with the Tentacles. These are just 1/8 inch to 1/8 inch. Then this is for I believe this is for an R5C. This is for, yeah, the specialized port that's on an R5C. Again, another 9-pin Lemo. Some Allen wrenches, because these little Kondor blue Caddies need to use an Allen wrench, okay? So why do I have all those cables? Well, I have all those cables because, or these cables rather, because, you know, when you're hired to do audio and you need to have timecode, well, not every camera has the same port. You know, isn't that lovely? So all these different cables are for different cameras. There's a lot of cameras that have BNC ports. So that's a common port. A lot of the mirrorless cameras do have a microphone in, which is like usually this 1/8 inch jack. And then the Lemo cables are for red cameras, because I do a lot of shoots where they bring red cameras. And then I've done some shoots that have ARRI cameras. So how do you manage to get all these cables? Well, hopefully when you have a job, I'm going to lay those right here. Okay. Hopefully when you have a job, you have enough time, maybe 2-3 days. Usually you do. Usually when you get hired for a job, you have a couple of days. So what does that mean? You have a couple of days, you talk to the DP, you say, hey, what camera are you using? You better be checking your stash to make sure you have the cable for that camera, okay? And if you don't, guess what? There's Amazon, and you buy the cable, okay? That's how I've done it. I wait for the jobs to come in, I ask the DPs what cameras they're using, then I go buy the cable, okay? That's just how you gotta do it. So this timecode cable stash has been building over the course of a couple of years. So that's that, all right? Put that aside. Okay, the next thing is I have a series of these CRD bags that have different things in them. We're gonna go through each one of them, so one at a time. I've labeled them, okay, because I'm a labeler. So this here says extra Lav Supplies, and it's got my name on it, right? Because if you're gonna lose something on set, well, maybe you should put your name on it. Just a thought, right? Extra Lav Supplies. This just means that I have things in here to support lavalier microphones. I've got extra foamies. These are URSA Foamies. I've got Viviana straps, Moleskin straps. Top stick. Okay, can't have enough of that. And then I've just got these Bubblebee little accessory cases. So this is just more invisible Lav tape strips by Bubblebee. This is some more Moleskin covers by Bubblebee. And then more Lav concealer tape. And then I've got a collection of Hush Lavs. Okay, these are by PSC Hush Lavs. Okay. And then a package. This is just a Rycote Undercovers package. You can buy this as a package. Okay, Rycote Undercovers. That's what this is. Okay. So why do I have all that? I have all that because you never know what situation you're going to be in. Okay. I have needed some version of all of this at some point. When I did the full tour of the bag, I showed you this little case. This is just a Bubblebee case, and this has a short supply of everything here, okay? So I carry this with me at all times. This literally has everything you see here in short supply, and then I just refill this case with this stuff, okay? So there's no reason I need to bring this quantity, you know, in my bag when I'm walking around. But I need to have this stuff ready to refill if I need it, okay? So that's everything that's in there. That's just my Lav Supplies case. Everything that I would need to hide a lav or stick a lav to something, okay? So that's that guy. Next case I have is my IFB supplies. IFB is what we refer to when we say in-ear communication. So when I do shoots for broadcast, especially, I need to have a selection of things available. So I have a selection of these guys, iPhone adapter cables and Android adapter cables. So I have Lightning to 1/8 inch headphone, and I have USB-C to 1/8 inch headphone. I've got a lot of different, I got a lot of these. Why do I have a lot of these? I have a lot of these because you know what, sometimes these things walk away. That's another reality in the business, is that sometimes these things walk away. So I have, let's see here, 5 each. That just means that, you know, possibly when I'm working with ESPN, their reporter is just going to walk away with my adapter. So, I mean, that's a thing that happens. So I don't just want to have 1. I got 5, all right? And then I can get that into, I can get their phone into their ear. Because most of these producers, when they come to a show, they are talking to control through their phone. And, you know, a lot of times they forget these. So I have those. And then I just have alcohol swabs to clean things off, different earpieces. But then also in this case, I have some, these are my older, we'll call them, older IFB rigs. These are things that I inherited, honestly, from another sound guy that was really, really nice to me and gave me some of these when I was first starting out. So I've got some of those. These are essentially IFB rigs. You have an 1/8 inch, and then on the other side you have the little earpiece, okay? So these things, you know, when the talent comes in, they put this in their ear, right? That's what that is. And then this clips to their shirt, okay? So these are older, okay? These aren't my primary, my backups, okay? So that's what's in there. IFB just has these things. Put this back together. Okay, and then, all right. Since we're on the IFB train, these are my primary IFB rigs. So these are the ones that I use first. Why do I use these first? Because these are nicer. They're newer, they're nicer, they sound better, they're more easy to manage. So these are voice technology earpieces. So why do I like these better? Well, the cable is easier to manage. The cable is thinner. The whole rig is just, it's just better, right? It's thinner, it's lighter, it's easier to manage, it's easier to hide, it's just smaller, right? So these are what I consider my primary. These are voice technology. And then I have the alcohol swabs in there because I do want to wipe these off between jobs. So I want to make sure also that the client knows that they can take the alcohol swab and wipe it off, you know. Sanitation, right? So that's what these are. There's 2 of the same exact things, okay? I really like how these have little cases. Pretty fantastic. So those are there, okay? Just gonna make a big pile here. Hope I don't get too messy. All right, then just some other random stuff. I carry a lot of AA batteries. You might consider me a AA battery hoarder, but I carry a lot of them. I still have gear that requires it. It's just the way it is. I'd like to get away from gear that requires AA's, but I still have a lot of gear that requires AA. Okay. So I carry a bunch of that, a bunch of AA batteries. Then I have 2 more of these cases. that just have specific things in it. This is my case that has all of my wind protection in it. These are just foamies and wind protection for my mics. Again, I have in my main audio bag, I'm always carrying this little guy that has some wind protection in it. But since this case goes on every job, I have more wind protection close by, okay? And then I have another one of these that has just clips. And okay, every microphone that you buy, they're gonna send you all sorts of clips, okay? So I just collect all the clips into this case. That's all it is. These are just the clips that have come with my microphones, okay? That's all that is. Real simple, okay? This happens to be Electrosonics branded case, but these cases are identical. One of them's blue, one of them's white. Bubblebee makes these, Electrosonics makes these, you know, whatever. But these are really helpful because they have all these little containers, compartments. They have one big compartment here, and then they've got 5 compartments on the other side. So nice, okay? Then I have a series of bags that I store my Sennheiser transmitters in. As you know, I've been transitioning away from Sennheiser, but not completely, okay? I still deploy Sennheiser if I need it. I'm currently up to 4 channels of WYSICOM on my bag, so I have 4 channels of WYSICOM MTP61 in my bag. And then I also have 4 channels of Sennheiser that I carry with me in case I need to add more mics or have a backup or, you know, whatever. There's all sorts of reasons. But the main one would be if I have to increase my mic count or if I have to do a backup situation, because, you know, who knows. So all this is 2 bags that has 2 Sennheiser G4 AW Plus transmitters in each bag. That's all that is. Very simple, okay? So I just use that. But these are coming along with me still. I want these on every shoot because you just don't know what might happen. And you might need these, okay? Then I have a bag that I have full of URSA straps. This is probably not as many URSA straps as I really need, but it'll get me going. What is an URSA strap? Well, an URSA strap is a way to get a microphone on somebody that may not have a belt. So I'm thinking women, mostly here. Women in dresses, women in pants that don't have really a way to hook a microphone. So what these are is it's a waist strap, okay? And then there's a pocket. There's a pocket here for putting the microphone, okay? So there's a pocket. You put the microphone in here, and then you strap this around the waist. It's a really, really good way to get a microphone on someone that doesn't have a belt. And that is more common than you would think, okay? If a woman has a dress on, sometimes I will actually ask her to, I'll get the mic in here, and then I'll ask them to go somewhere else and get this around their waist so that then I can mic them up. So I have, in this bag, I have a series of different sizes. URSA makes different sizes, so I have, so you can see pink, orange, and green. Pink is small, green is large, I think, or green's medium, and orange is large or extra large. But anyway, there's 3 different sizes here, okay? And then also in the same URSA bag, I have these URSA pouches, because sometimes sometimes you don't have to go all the way with a strap, and you can use a pouch. So this would help. Sometimes you can actually clip this to the back of a woman's bra or sports bra or something, because it's got snaps. You put the transmitter in there, and then you've got snaps to snap it around. This is also somewhat of an easier way to put something on a belt, but these pouches are extremely helpful, okay? So I've got different sizes of those. I think I have a small, medium, and large. I've used these on shoots. They come very, very handy, Okay. So I just have a bag of URSA. I have 6 straps and maybe 3 or 4 pouches. And these do come in handy. And when you need it, right? These might ride along in my case for 6 months and I don't use them. But then when I need them, I need them. Okay? Getting to the end here. So this is my spectrum analyzer. Tiny SA is the brand. I bring this along because I want a way to scan the available frequencies in the air. Okay? That's all this is. This is a simple spectrum analyzer. As you can see, it just helps me scan the air to see what frequencies are available. It's very simple. And it's quite affordable. And this is a really helpful tool to have. Okay? It allows you to do some presets and all sorts of cool stuff. I use it just to simply say, all right, what is in the air? What is happening? You can see your microphones register on here. You can do a lot of stuff with this. So that's what that is. Tiny SA Spectrum Analyzer. Actually, Tiny SA Ultra Spectrum Analyzer. Okay? Carry that along with me because you never know when you need that. Okay? That's really helpful. Wireless management is one of the hardest things in audio. The last bag that's in here is a catch-all. I call it mixed pre-cables, but this is just adapters and things that I'm going to need in order to get in and out of other audio systems. Okay? I'm gonna put away, I'm gonna start packing this back up so I can dump this case out and you can see what's in it. By the way, these CRD bags are awesome for this size case. These are the CRD smalls. So just for reference, this is the CRD small. And like I said, this is the Nanuk 915. They fit really well in here, just for reference, okay? All right, so I'm gonna dump this bag out, make a big mess. Okay, so this is just, like I said, it's a catch-all, okay? It's a catch-all for the cables I might need in a pinch, okay? So what might I need in a pinch? Well, here's a Sennheiser 1/8 inch to 1/8 inch. Okay, sometimes I use this to get a Sennheiser into a mirrorless camera that only has an 1/8 inch port, okay? I've got a gender bender. That's actually what it's called. It basically takes female to female. See that? So that allows me to adapt an XLR to different gender. Then I have one of these. Okay, this is a Sescom IL-19 Extreme Hum Fighter. I always use this when I'm pulling audio off a console. And I pull audio off consoles a lot. In my work, I oftentimes have to tap other boards. This cleans a signal and it does a crazy good job, okay? If there's any weirdness happening on that line level signal that I'm getting from something else, this cleans it up. It's kind of magic, okay? Then I just have 2 XLR adapters that go into Lemo. So this helps me get XLR into my Wisicom transmitters. Okay, so this is Lemo on one side, XLR on the other side. So this would allow me to like take a board feed and get it into my wireless MTP61. You know, that's what that's for. Okay. And then I have 1/4 inch to XLR adapter. This comes in handy. This comes in handy. Sometimes you get around systems that only have 1/4 inch and you need to go XLR. Okay. Then I've got 1/8 inch to XLR adapter. This is going to get another system into one of my Sennheiser transmitters. That's what that's for. Or it allows me to easily convert an XLR to an 1/8 inch. And then this is also a Sennheiser cable. This is essentially the same cable as this. It is the same. It's the same exact cable. but this just has the screw lock on it that Sennheiser uses. Okay. And then I have this 1/8 inch to XLR tap. This is just a very basic 1/8 inch to XLR. So that's what's in my catch-all, like, extra adapters. This covers me for nearly everything that I need. Put this back in here. Because when you're in situations where you have to tap other boards, you really need to be able to quickly adapt between connectors, okay? So that's sort of my catch-all bag that problem solves for me in a wide variety of scenarios. I do have more adapters that I have that I don't carry with me in this case. I mean, I have more that I would bring if I need them, but this is what I carry with me, okay? So when I go to a shoot, I have this case, which is my main support case, my audio bag, and then I have one more case right here that I bring to every shoot. Show you what's in there. So this is a Pelican 1560. This is the wheeled version. I like wheeled cases. They're my friend. And the reason I bring this along is because there's some things in here that really don't fit in a small case, all right? The main thing that I have is I have 2 of these breakaway snakes. Okay, I've talked about these on my channel before, but these are my breakaway snakes that I use to send signal to cameras. So they have XLR on one side, XLR on the other side. The term breakaway refers to the fact that you can take these and you can break them. So this is a multi-pin connection that you can easily disconnect and connect. So there's a short end right here. So this is the camera tail, okay? And then this plugs into the longer cable right here so that you can easily and quickly disconnect from a camera but leave all of the stuff plugged into the camera, okay? I got 2 of those because frequently I am feeding signal to 2 cameras. That happens a lot. I'll probably end up getting another one of these soon because I often have to feed 3, 4 cameras. I was on a shoot last week where I had to feed 4 cameras. So that explains the other things that are in this bag, or in this case. So the other things that are in this case is, it's really simple. It's XLR cable. So this is just varying lengths of XLR cable. All right. That's what that is, okay? All the way down to the bottom, that's what that is. And then I always travel with an extra battery cup. Again, if you know anything about me, I like backups. So this is literally just an extra battery cup that if the battery cup in my bag goes bad, I have another one. Because if you can't power your bag, you got nothing. Okay? And then, so XLR. And then I always carry an RE50 with me. This one is set up for NFL because that's what I did last. But this is just an Electro Voice RE50. Had gaff tape on there. Electro Voice RE50 with a foam mount. And then depending on who I'm working for, I can either put an ESPN flag on there, an NFL flag, whatever. Okay. I carry one of those with me at all times. I always carry a grip head with me. This allows me to mount my boom pole on a stand. Okay. And then this bag actually has more Sennheiser connectors in it. This is just sort of a backup of extra Sennheiser connectors. Again, I'm phasing the Sennheiser stuff out, but I still carry along all these adapters to get into cameras and stuff if I need it. I carry an extra battery for my mixer. I always have 2 batteries with me. This bag here has everything that I could need to get into a camera. Okay? Everything I could need to get into a camera. So these snakes on the camera side have XLR connections. Okay, so this is the breakaway part of my snake. So these have XLR connections. So this collection of cables helps me adapt into pretty much any camera that I'm going to run into. Now, again, there's probably cameras I haven't thought of, but these are, for example, Mini XLR. These are commonly found in Canon cameras. Canon, I think there's a few other cameras. Blackmagics also have these. So this is XLR to Mini XLR, okay? Then I just have some splitters. I do not like to split signal. I don't like to do it, okay? It is not my first choice in any scenario to split a signal, but I have them on board in case I have to. So these just allow me to split XLR. There's 2 of them here. Don't like to do it, but sometimes you have to, okay? Then I have another set of, I have actually 2 sets of Mini XLR, so that's what that is. That's a second set of Mini XLR. And then I have XLR to TA3. This is sometimes needed. Got 2 of those. TA3. So that would be something a little more weird, but there are cameras that have TA3 on them. And then I have these guys, which are, this is a stereo XLR to 1/8 inch. Okay, so that lets me get stereo audio into a mini audio jack, 1/8 inch audio jack on a camera. Okay, and then I have 2 of these, which are just mono. These are, I had some of these in my other case too, but these are mono XLR to 1/8 inch cables. And then I've got just another one of these. This is just a different version of a mono cable, XLR to 1/8 inch. And then I have, this is another weird cable, but I've needed it before. This is an XLR to TA3. Okay, so this gets XLR to TA3 stereo. So why do I have all of these? Well, again, as the audio guy, my job is to be able to get audio into pretty much everything. I know it's a hard life, and you end up with like a lot of cables, okay? If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of adapters, a lot of cables going on here, but I have had to get every single one of these cables that is in this bag, I have needed in order to get audio into a camera. So on the same realm, when I was collecting these cables and I was starting to get into this, same as my Timecode batch, which is up here, I had to be asking DPs, like, what do you need? What is your camera? Okay? And they would tell me, and then I would have to make sure that I'd go on that little Amazon and get the cables. Okay? Because you can't show up and not be able to get audio into their camera. It's not acceptable. Okay? So basically, there are Mini XLR, and then there are splitters, and then there are 1/8 inch, and mono and stereo versions of all of that. Plus there's some TA3, okay? That's what's in there. So let me put that back together. And the reason why this doesn't fly in my little support case is because I'm only going to be using these in conjunction with my snake. So in my snake has to ride in this bigger case. You know, there's nothing, I can't get my snake anywhere else. So I got to have a bigger case to hold all the XLRs and the snakes and all that. So these are the things that come with me on every shoot. Every single time I go out on an audio job, I'm bringing all this because you just don't know what you're running into. And then I have a collection of more of these types of things in other cases that I don't bring with to every shoot, just like backups and extras and things of that nature. Okay? And then the other thing that I carry along in this larger Pelican case is I have my IEM in-ear monitor listening devices. These are my Sennheiser IEMs. So this just allows me to give a producer a wireless feed. These don't ride in my support case all the time because it's a very specific thing. And they will ask for it if they want it, okay? But that's what that is. And then I always carry with me a splitter. This is a true splitter. It's not like those cables. This is a splitter. It's a passive microphone splitter. I've used this on lots of jobs. And then I always carry with me a set of Allen wrenches. Can't have enough of those around. And in here, I also have extra batteries, extra AA batteries, because I think we covered earlier I'm a AA battery hoarder. So that I just have some extra AA batteries in here. And that covers that, okay? And an extra wind dead cat cover. This goes over the top of the spacer bubble that I have on my main boom mic. Okay, so this is just there if wind gets really crazy. But, you know, wind is not gonna get really crazy very often where I need this, because usually the spacer bubble does just fine. Okay? I hope you enjoy looking at all of this. I'm a gearhead. I like talking about it. By no means do you need all of this, but I'm just sharing that this is the stuff that I use to be full-time freelance location audio. Okay? I know it's really hard to keep this going. I know it's really hard to get out there and find clients. I know that doing the work is only half the battle, because as you can see, you need to collect a lot of stuff to do the work, okay? So I appreciate all of you that have watched to the end and seen how this all comes together, and we will see you in the next one.